Right, we are live. Yay. All right. Hey, it's Sue Greenwald here with Awakened Stories, and I'm here today with Lydia Durham. Welcome, Lydia. Yay.
Hello, how are you?
We had lots of interference today already.
Good.
Today is March 20th, 2024. And for those that don't know, Lydia and I have talked before, so I do know part of her story, but we're going to retell her story today in a more chronological order so that people understand there's a lot of new viewers on the channel. So we want people to understand your story. So a couple things I wanted to say is I'm not asking for proof. We're not asking for documentation. I know you have some of that, Lydia, but we're not going to go there. We're not doing gematria, coding, dates, any of that stuff. It just takes a lot of time, and we just want to get the story out there. And the other thing I want to say is a lot of celebrities fake their deaths for various reasons. All right. So we're as a population starting to see that more and more. So we're just going to kind of go with this story and see what happens with it and kind of look on the outside world to see what's happening there as well. So yay. Well, welcome, Lydia.
Yeah.
So, what I wanted to do today was talk about your childhood and build up to the present date if we could. So, can you tell us like where you were born and kind of the circumstances of that sort of thing?
Well, I mean, as far as my birth certificate that I was given says it would be Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, that's it. So, and then from there on, I know there was, from what I can remember, there was a brief time I was living in South Plainfield, New Jersey first. Then it was a brief time in Turnersville, New Jersey, and then back to South Plainfield, New Jersey for a while. And from there, we also lived in the Bronx, New
Oh,
York. Um, yes, we lived in the Bronx for a little while as well. And then we came back to Middlesex, New Jersey, and then from there, we also went, when I was older, whatever, um, for a brief period of time when the more problem around the Trump presidency, that was the North Carolina time
okay.
and
Okay.
on from there. But
So
yeah.
you pretty much always lived in New Jersey your whole life. You
Mm-hmm.
bounced over to Bronx for a while, then you came back to New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
When did you find out that you were adopted? Like how old were you?
I know it was elementary school, so maybe about mm, like vaguely remember. I just remember elementary school, but could have been like second, third
Okay.
grade, somewhere around that area.
So when you were told you were adopted, you probably didn't even really know what that meant, but did like
Right. Like I remember the one thing I remember is like my mother would always tell me like you're adopted. And I guess she would kind of like back out of telling me a lot because I'd be like, what is that? What does that mean? And she'd be
right.
like, oh, it means I love you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, and then one day, because a lot of times, like they would, a lot of people would see me and see her when I got like maybe in the first or second grade, and the kids would be like, that's your mother? And I'm like, yeah, why? Like it didn't dawn on me. I mean, I don't know, And sometimes I would look at myself because, especially in the summer, I get, dark. Some, if I sit out or whatever, or my hair, stiff, whatever. And, you know, a lot of people would say stuff, you know, and I would sit there looking at myself or be like, I do kind of look different, but then I didn't, it didn't dawn on me that, you know, but so then there was that one day where she was like, oh well, this and that, and I was like, huh,
Right.
like, oh, so I'm not like not you're like this isn't my real parents,
Right.
but then I was like, I don't care. Like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder what happened. No, like I wonder what happened to them. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, what am I going to do about it?
Right. Well,
Like, I just figure like nothing's changed.
when you're a little bit older, sometimes it traumatizes you a little bit that you weren't told earlier, but it sounds like, they told you you were 7, 8, 9, maybe, and it was like, yeah, whatever. And you didn't think too much about it. So tell us about your adopted parents and what your home life was like as a little, we're talking really from birth to age, well, 10, 12, when, uh, would you say that, all right, we'll start with your mom. Was your mom a good mom? Like, was she a loving and nurturing person? Did she act like she wanted you there?
Oh yeah, no, no. Well, yeah, absolutely. Now she, wanted me there, and you know, there wasn't really problem. Like her, she was more different. However, she would have problems as far as like dealing with, the so-called father there. So being dealing with that person, shall I say, okay, shall I say, dealing with that person, when you're a kid, you don't understand, a lot of people would probably think, there's something wrong with her, even though she would go, or they would think like the correct word to use actually would be maybe bipolar, like because even though a kid wouldn't use bipolar, but maybe an adult would,
Right,
a kid would be like, why does she act, this way? She's always mad, or she'll get mad and then she'll be nice. She'll get mad and she'll be nice. She's mean one minute and nice one minute. That's how a kid would think. But, you know, like she could be really nice and then she'll turn around and be mean. But an adult, like, man, she's crazy. She's bipolar. But see, when you understand, once you get to understand what's going on here and what's being done, as of say MK Ultra, satanic ritual abuse, cultism, and other things, what they're doing to people and how they can abuse women or men, children, anybody, how they can trap you into relationships, how they can easily manipulate somebody, how they can control somebody, how they could literally enslave somebody or have somebody captured without, and it looks like the person's not captured. Well,
right,
you're free, you have a car to drive, you're living in a home, you go out, you're shopping in a store, you're going out to eat. I can't get away from this, people. Your eyes are misleading you. You're being fooled, you're being bamboozled, and nobody will help me because we're living in a system full of crooks that are down with it and
right,
protecting it.
right.
So nobody's understanding, right? So with that being said, when you understand all this, I say that because you will look at it as in she's trying to be the person, that maybe she truly is, you know, and at the same time, it's like, she probably would have been a teacher. She probably would have been, you know, like all these different things, but she couldn't live, say, one dream. She couldn't do one thing that she would have really done. She couldn't have been a happy person. She couldn't have love. She couldn't have anything a human being deserves because she's trapped in this cycle of what it is, satanic garbage. Meanwhile, she has, you know, children or whatever that she tries to enjoy little bits of, but she has to deal with this and has no outlet because you can't really talk about it. People think you're nuts, or you can't really. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Who's going to help you? You're just in this mess and you're
Right,
stuck around somebody that is the way they are,
right,
so I say that to say, you have to say what's going on because you can't speak about certain individuals and just say, oh, well, hey, this is what I went through, because that's not being fair to their character. If you say, well, this is what I went through, and this person did A, B, C, D, and E, and this person did A, B, C, D, and E, and it's like, wow, that's horrible. And then they're going to make a judgment on somebody without knowing, well, hey, that person also has a backstory. That's like if somebody see me, like for instance, if I'm being abused, like I'm being abused by all these people, right? And everybody has a human element, right? So, you're going to get a bad day, right? It doesn't mean that the whole person is a bad person. So if somebody's boyfriend just beat the heck out of them and they cover it up, it's only on their body. So they're wearing clothes. You can't see that they just got beaten up. But every day, they're the nicest person in the world. They are the nicest person in the world, right? So they just get beaten, 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 and they come out. And usually the same people they see every day, they're like, hi, I love you. I love you, have a great day. And they come out that day and they're like, people are like, hey, how are you? And they're like, just leave me alone. And then everybody's like, man, she's a real, guess what? No, she's not. You know what I mean? Like that's the
Yeah.
human element. She's
Yeah.
something happened to her. Like, you know what I mean? You can't just judge somebody because they're human element and they're human, it's they're hurting and whatever. So the character person, we got to look at what's going on and what brought a person to certain ways and what's going on, because the satanic ritual abuse and the things that is happening to a person could bring about. And that right there is what the cult and these beings, whatever they are, bank on to get people to turn on each other and to get the isolation factor and everything that they're doing to everybody. That's what makes them successful in what they're doing. So when we speak about what we're going through and certain people around us, we got to make sure that we also educate on certain things too.
Well, I was just trying to establish whether she like wanted, an adopted
Mhm.
baby, or if she was more of a handler, like that was her job,
Right.
and she tried to
I think
make,
she was handled.
yeah, of course. And so she tried to make the best of it. It sounds like, she tried to be, a mother, but as
Right.
you just said, she had all these other stressors. Like she had a
Mhm.
very
Which
complex
brought
situation.
about some abusive behavior and controlling behavior out of her too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not like crazy like that, but like certain ways, like, you're gonna do this now, or get the yelling and the screaming and the just like some outrageous behaviors and the dependency and the overwhelming, even as I grew up, like teenage or whatever, like the clinging and the, you know, you're not gonna leave me, and the fear of abandonment and the all that, and just a lot of stuff. And
Yeah.
you could see where it's going to, where it came from, you know what I mean? So it brought upon some behaviors with it.
Gotcha.
You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Yeah. So talk about your adopted dad.
Oh,
Did your mom and dad fight a lot? Or
yeah,
okay.
that was real now.
Okay. So they fought a lot, but like talk about him a little bit so we can kind of I want to set up a foundation
Is
for
the
people.
world ready?
Huh?
You got to be ready for that one.
Yeah,
Is this
this
PG or R? I mean,
we can go mild R.
mild R, mild R.
Mild R because
Because I mean, we're bringing up George Hout now. I mean, really. Now
yeah,
let's.
and for those that don't know, this is a wild story. It's a wild story, and it takes a little bit of a leap of faith, but we're going to get there. It's just that's why we want to go step by step because there's so much complexity here. But yeah, so talk. What was your mom's name?
Lois Ann Hout, speaking about step by step, you better say, ooh, baby, because I'll tell you, George Hout is one.
Okay,
That's from the New Kids on the Block, by the way, but go ahead.
I don't know, but okay. So George Howe, tell us about your adopted dad.
Okay, my adopted dad, George Hout.
Okay, so
Well,
so
I mean, he was a true nut. Like, I mean, when you bring him to counseling and they tell you, don't bring this person back ever. No, literally, that's what happened. I
yeah,
advocated for him. I said, please bring him. I was only 13. And I said, listen, I was old enough. I couldn't take it no more. was in middle school and I went in there, I said, he needs to go to counseling.
So what kind
And they
of
were like, they were complaining about my behavior in school, you know,
can you
you
imagine?
know, yeah, well,
What,
but I
what,
mean, in all fairness, like, okay, when you've got people fighting in the house, this is what was going on. You know, you got people fighting in the house. He's choking my brother out at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm being dead serious too. He's choking my brother out. Like I wake up to, she's literally at the kitchen table reading a book.
why was he choking your
She didn't know what to
brother?
do.
What happened?
Well, apparently, he was on his way home. I guess Steven snuck out. I don't know. He was whatever. So Steven was out. And then I just heard whatever. But I kind of don't believe that either because I don't know where he used to get this kind of money. But I mean, we used to find, I counted it. We used to find like $80,000 in cash, $100,000 in cash floating around the house. I thought it was normal because I was young. I didn't know, I'm like, oh, here's another like $10,000.
Okay,
I thought it was normal.
yeah.
Like
And
I mean, yeah.
and your dad's profession at the time, and this was
And
probably,
what I
yeah.
think it was though, yeah, I think it was though too. I think my brothers sometimes would like be like hounding him for money for drugs and stuff, and then like if he didn't want it, whatever, they would start fighting because I caught him doing it one time because he didn't know I was home, and I heard him like, "Give me the money," and I went up there and I was like, "Stop." Like I was older than that. That happened when I was older, and that's why when I think about it, I'm thinking, is that what all the fights were about? Like from when I was younger on up, you know what I mean? Like maybe it wasn't other stuff. Like, is this what always started? Because see, he didn't know I was home, So was it always about like you knew he's hiding all this money, so you're always just fighting over? They don't want that out.
Hey, it's too good. We just got kicked off our video several times, so we're gonna do it again till we get it right. So, Lydia, tell us some of the stories about your father's erratic behavior and what all the stuff that happened around your house from, a young child till maybe 10 or 12 or so. Like what kind of stuff did he do that was unusual?
Woo. Okay. So many times. Oh, Lord. Okay. I would wake up to like very, very, very strange behaviors. So, I mean, I'm sure people haven't woken up to these kind of things. It's just not normal to wake up to the sound of waterfalls going in your kitchen at 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, it wasn't as pretty as waterfalls, though. That's kind of pretty. But anyway, so you walk down the hallway to see what it is, what the sound is. You're hoping nothing's leaking, you're hoping there isn't a problem or something going on, you know. And well, actually, it kind of was a problem, because you creep down there, you peek around the corner, you peek around, and you're there to see somebody standing on their toes, pissing in the kitchen sink.
Yeah. Yeah, not usual.
When, nah, when there's three bathrooms in the house, which one of them would be like kind of next to the kitchen, and another one is in his bedroom, and another one would be downstairs, all of them empty because it's 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
you know, and it's not normal because you were taught to be potty trained, and there's a thing called a toilet bowl in there that you are supposed to sit your little anus on and handle your business. And you have somebody on their tippy toes, like they're doing a ballet class, pissing in the kitchen
Yeah.
sink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not
That's one
normal.
thing.
Okay.
Nah,
What
that's
other,
one thing.
what other
Mm.
things?
Well, another thing would be, the several times that he would stack containers with this substance that was similar to brown Play-Doh in the freezer.
Oh,
So, you know, when I figured that out because I said, what the heck is that? You know? But I said, well, he's pissing in the sink. And then I looked at the containers and I'm like, the hell is that?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And one day I just went because I was like, I'm not touching it. Like that's why we stopped eating there. We
Oh,
went out to eat every day. We wouldn't eat in the house. We wouldn't touch nothing in there. Because once I seen he was pissing in the kitchen sink and all that, hell, I told Mama, I said, he pisses in the kitchen sink. She
yeah.
said, what? I said he was on his toes like a ballerina about to win an award on Broadway, pissing in the kitchen sink.
Okay.
I said, you might as well get him some shoot ballerina shoot dance shoes and a skirt
Yeah.
so he could sit there and do a pose while he pisses in the kitchen sink.
So basically, your mom didn't address that with him. She just, you guys
Oh
all,
yeah, no, that was yelling and screaming. Why?
oh, yeah,
Why? It just it was crazy.
yeah.
So I mean, yeah, she broke dishes and everything. There was
Oh,
dishes all over the floor. Like little she took them out at yeah. It was stacks, man. Not one dish at a time. Well, actually, she did throw a couple like frisbees, zoom, zoom, like frisbees. Oh, she was pissed.
okay.
It was like a frisbee contest, and then she took like 3 or 4 at a time. It was like just let them go, just drop them on the floor. Like, ow.
So was your dad home a lot in general, would you say?
Mm, not really.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he always went to his job, and the job was Paul's Trucking, in I think it was Avenel, New Jersey. And they drove the trucks for Pathmark.
Right. And
Mhm.
he was a local driver, so he really didn't have overnight deliveries
No,
immediately.
but he was gone, like say from like 4 or earlier till like say it could be 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning,
Yeah,
depends.
yeah. And he
Mhm.
had huge amounts of cash, 10,000, eighty
Yeah,
thousand, stored around the
constantly.
house, in the car, wherever, which is not, a truck driver, let's say in the 80s, didn't probably make that much. And
There was
certainly,
times they would call up and ask her to get him to cash his checks. There was a time when he had probably 8, 9, or 10 paychecks uncashed, and they said we need him to cash his paychecks
Hmm,
because we can't just have somebody out here with paychecks that aren't, you know what I mean? They caught on like
yeah,
there's somebody that didn't care, you know what I mean, cash his paychecks.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And we can't have that.
yeah,
So I mean, he would like weeks and weeks and weeks just have paychecks uncashed. You know what I mean? And then yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's like, and all the bills were paid, all this, all that money. We even had a second house. We had a house down in Mystic. It's called Mystic Island, Tuckerton. It was a shore house
yeah.
that we had. We had a Sea Ray boat. That was just a summer house with a Sea Ray boat and all this. You know what I mean?
And
And he's not cashing paychecks.
you had a fairly nice house, like a 4 bedroom.
It was 5 bedroom bi-level home.
Yeah. Okay. So it was a fairly nice house. You had a beach house, which is not typical for, middle class, especially back then because the prices of the shore property have gone up so much. But, and then he had a boat too, but he was gone erratically. He did a lot of crazy stuff around the house. Then there were tons and tons of piles of money everywhere. And,
All the
okay,
time.
yeah.
I mean, we
So,
could pick up and go to Disneyland whenever. Well, he never went. or like my mom, her sister, whatever, was, oh, Midge is in Disneyland, or, they're going to whatever. Pack your stuff, we're going tomorrow. Like nothing.
Yeah, for most middle class families, that's a big deal. I mean, it's expensive and it's a lot of travel. It's I don't know if you flew or drove, but it's a long drive and it costs a lot of money to take the kids to
Fly,
Disney. Yeah, yeah. So
pick
there
up
was
and
money in
go.
the household is what
I
I'm
was in
getting.
gymnastics.
Yeah. Now, did your mom work?
No.
Ah, so she was a stay-at-home mother. Oh, wow. Interesting. Now, did you know your grandparents and you
Mm-mm.
mentioned your aunt, like, did you have grandparents? No. And what about other family members? Like, did you gather with cousins or any stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that? You did.
Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And did they seem like, we'll call it normal?
Uh, yeah. Although, let's see, I get the, like, I think they think something was, suspicious with stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you see any of those guys now or talk to any of family members from the past?
People are supposedly, I think, dead and gone, unless they faked it.
Okay. All right. So what other odd behavior do you want to talk about before we lead up to?
Let's see. I mean, there's a lot,
Okay.
but I mean, go through. I mean, really just weird stuff, man. Oh God, how do I explain it? I mean, he would not like change his clothes for months. They
Yeah.
even had complaints at the work, like until he got these major complaints at the job where it came to the point where it was, if you don't take a bath and change your clothes, you cannot come back.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, you know, let's see, like, um, let me see what else. He would, like, he would just like creep around, like start like trying to, like I would catch him, like if he was trying to like watch me or something. And I'm like so I would be on the lookout. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like, all right, he's somewhere lurking.
Okay.
Like you know what I mean? Like I knew he was lurking, or or he would wait. Like I was working at Burger King as a kid, and he would purposely, like they mailed my income tax check or something. He took it and hid it, like for whatever reason. One time his car broke down and I had to drive him to work. Out of nowhere, he shut up. We're in the middle of the road. He shut my car off and took my key out. And I was like, holy, I'm like, oh, yeah. And I'm scared because I was a newer driver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm newer. Like I didn't even, and here I am on the road, and he just he shut the car off
Yeah.
and just took the key out. And I was scared because I'm like, we're on the road, and I remember I'm like, oh my God, just put it back. And he's laughing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is not like, this isn't funny.
Right. Because it
Because
was,
I'm thinking,
yeah. So did he act like he wanted a baby? Like, I mean, an adopted?
hell no.
Yeah. So
Oh no.
he was just like kind of a handler there. He was just there for some reason. And maybe that was his new identity, was this family man facade.
He would walk around the neighborhood and start talking to the neighbors. And like, it was just real awkward. I
Yeah.
remember even saying, don't go around talking to the neighbors, George. You're freaking everybody out. you know,
Yeah.
like real weird stuff. I'm trying to think a bit about it now because sometimes I forget what it was, but it's like just here it is. He had like this obsession, right, with keeping bad food in the freezer. Yeah, that was it. That's another reason why we would need to, like, you couldn't throw things away. Like, he had an obsession, no matter what it was. He would go out and buy, if Captain Crunch, that was the cereal it was too. That's why, like, Captain Crunch. So if Captain Crunch was on sale, no lie, he'd buy 20 boxes of it. And we're like, we don't want any more, George.
Yeah.
Like, God. And he's like, well, it's here if anybody needs it. And we're like,
So I would assume that when he came home, your mother's stress level went up 100%.
yeah. And then, like, he would just, like, creep around the house and
Yeah,
start,
yeah.
and then, like he would come in. I'm 11 years old. He would come in, talk to me. I was riding down Route 5, and I'd be like, huh? Like, I remember this because I'm like, what the heck does this have to do with it? Like, I remember thinking that, like, I'm sitting in my room doing something, like, playing with my hair, as a kid, like doing stupid stuff, bouncing around. I'm playing a video game. He's like, I stopped at Wawa to get a cup of coffee. I was riding down Route 5, there was trucks pulled over to the side. And I'm like, okay, my friend and I are playing a game. Yeah, and there were that coffee went bad, that
So it
coffee
was
went
kind
bad.
of an inappropriate timing.
It just weird stuff. And he's
Yeah,
like,
weird.
this and that. He's like, the truckers at the job are just, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
And
Yeah,
so he would do just bizarre things. So basically he would keep spoiled food in the freezer and
he would eat it. Eventually, he would eat it. He cooked the meat and would eat it, and then tell us, I want you to eat it." And I'm like, I had something. Oh wait, when my mom was in the hospital one time, now he whips out a $100 bill and tries to pay for it too. My mother was in the hospital. He brings me to McDonald's because she said, bring her. She has to get something to eat. She has to get some. I'll never forget this one. She has to get something to eat. Bring her to McDonald's, get something to eat. Right? He brings me there. And I said, well, I want a number such and such. Like, it was like chicken sandwich, French fries, soda. He says, I go to order. He goes, no, just give her the chicken sandwich. I said, what the heck? I want French fries. Make the fries at home. He whips out $100 and goes to pay for it. Swear to God. I said, the sandwich is going to be cold. Why can't I have McDonald's fries? Make the fries at home. And he meant it. Whips out $100, freaking pays for it.
right, right. So it sounds like you and your family went out a lot, which for most middle class families,
Oh, yeah.
especially back then, it's different now. That was a big deal. That was a big deal because yeah. So he had money,
Yeah.
but he was super weird and he did work, but he had way more cash in the house than he should have.
Yeah. Let me show you. So then she found something to do. Not like, didn't earn her money, but she started going to these libraries doing this literacy volunteer to get away from him. And so she was doing literacy volunteer. He used to find her and walk in there. Didn't care if she had people sitting there and she was teaching them English as a second language or whatever she was doing. He didn't care. He walked right up in there, walked right to the table. No, when are you coming home, Lo? No, why are you here, Lo? And he used to upset her. So she's like, and he would be in his dirty outfit,
Okay.
shirt all hanging nasty,
Yeah.
or whatever he was doing. She's like, you can't walk in here, Now, he tried doing that stuff to me before, and I said, if you don't leave here, I'm going, and he's like, so he stopped messing with me because, see, the time he knocked her into the bathtub, yeah, he did. I was in high school, but I got off that bus. I got busted out of district because that's another story. But anyway, I got kicked out of the one school, that's what it is. But anyway, we'll go into that another time. Anyway, but anyway, so I got off. When I came in, I heard, "Get away from me, you're hurting me." And I'm like, the hell? And I go in there, she's laying in that bathtub. By the time I was through with him, and I'm being dead, I'm not exaggerating, like it's not a joke. The cops were at the house and he needed stitches in his face. And
Wow.
I'm dead serious. And even the cops couldn't stand him so much. And they knew, but plus when they got there, she's laying in the bathtub. Okay. The cop even told me this was self-defense. I said, yeah, absolutely. And it was, she's in the bathtub. He goes, that's right. Like he was telling me what to say. They arrested him and they took him to the hospital first. He had stitches in his face, all right here. They said, have a nice day to me.
Wow.
I'm the one who gave it to him. And they knew that because I mean, at that age, I didn't even know, what to, when the first cop got there, I said, he knocked her. I got home from, I told him the truth. I just said, I got home from school. I heard her yelling, "You're hurting me. Stop, stop. You're hurting me. Get away from me." I ran up the steps. I went in there. I seen her laying back. Her head was hit her head, whatever, this and that. And he was over her going to attack her again. And I handled my business. That was it.
So
If bleeding, that ain't
don't
my problem.
don't mess with a Jersey girl.
Well, and that's what I said. I said, if he's bleeding, that ain't my problem. He shouldn't have did what he did.
Woof.
That's not my problem. And when he tried to come at me when I was handling him, getting him off her, that was the wrong move to make too.
Wow.
He had his problem. That was his problem because
Right.
he was trying to choke me. And
Yeah.
I told him, that's the wrong move. You want to put your hands around my neck?
Right.
I hit him with an upper piece.
Okay.
And then I gave him a two piece right in his damn nose. But besides the point, my point is, so he needed, that had happened. But he actually, then there was restraining orders on him, and he's so crazy. All of this too, for anybody, I know we're not doing proof and evidence today, but if anybody ever wanted to ever test any of this, South Plainfield, New Jersey, I think it's 07080. If anybody ever later on or whenever, all they'd have to do is go back and ask for the records for the police department. See if I'm lying.
Wow. Okay.
Go ahead. Now, okay. Um, and I mean, so it would be sometime in the 90s. See if I'm lying. I dare anybody. Anyway, because it all would be on record somewhere. Somewhere it would be
Right.
because it
Self-claim.
happened. But anyway, so therefore all of that, and then the restraining orders that were on him, he broke them.
And that
He would
was from
show up.
your mother put a restraining order on him.
Yeah, I think it was for her and me because I was a minor. You know what I mean? I was a minor, so in her, so she would put the restraining orders on, and literally, he would show up at the door anyway, and he'd bang on it. No, let me in. Let me talk to you, no. And I'm like, but see, he got to the point where he actually was scared of me. So he would look to see if I was around because I'm like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. This is ridiculous, man. Because I'm like, oh my God, The other stuff you're doing, it is what it is. I didn't really, I just would be like, wow, they are just weird. But, but at the same time, don't put your hands on people, because he tried it with me the one time, another time too. Like there was this little hill in front of the property, and they were yelling and screaming. I was younger, and I didn't like all the crazy, like that kind of stuff. And I ran out the front door. He came after me, and he put his hand around me like this, around my neck. And I remember I went back like this. And I don't even know how I did it. I flipped him over my shoulder, and he landed on the ground. I put my foot on his chest, and I was like, "Don't you ever put your hand around my neck?" I was mad, And I don't even know how I did. I kid you not. But I mean, I was like, because it was like real, like crazy, like a crazy feeling, somebody go like that, I don't like it. So
Yeah.
that had happened, and but the other stuff, but now there's also like another time like when I was older, about 19, there was also another time though I helped to help him in a way, because I'm like, okay, his behavior is so crazy right now. I was like, but this time I actually think he's sick, and he was sick, because I was like, it's different than it was, even though his behavior's always been erratic. I said it's actually like whatever, and he turned out to have water on his brain, and he went to I think the hospital, mental hospital. Well, first he went to the regular hospital, and it was I think he went to somewhere Princeton, New Jersey, I think. But then he did have a little bit of water on the brain. They did something about that, and then after that, he was in the mental hospital for a long time.
Okay. So if I'm not mistaken, you were born in 78, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, you grew up primarily in the 80s, teenager during the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout your whole life, he did weird things. Okay. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a loving household, which is what I'm trying to establish. Did you ever have like missing time? I know, like being this age, you can't go back and remember every instance, but did you ever notice time out of your life that felt odd, like it had been it wasn't normal, like it wasn't a linear time feeling? Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. There's certain things like gap things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And did your parents ever disappear for like an undisclosed amount of time, like they just weren't there or whatever? Or did they bring weird people or strange people to the household, or go off with, you know, again, I'm talking not family members, not neighbors, people that seemed odd to you?
She didn't, but I don't like him. Him, yeah. Oh, you know what? There was on his side though, there was this Uncle Richie. Wait, I vaguely remember this. Oh, because see, I was younger now. On his side, there was an Uncle Richie that was in and out of the cook houses. And I remember something about we had to go. It was late too, real late at night. I remember I think I was in my pajamas. She got me out of bed because we had to rush to a mental hospital because he escaped. I kid you not, I remember that. And that was so-called George's brother. Like he escaped, and she was like real pissed, like, man, I gotta handle this, and I don't know where he is, and like, how the hell did he get out of there? Yeah, like, and I just was like, I didn't really know what was going on. I remember that. Like, I don't even know what happened to the guy.
Did
I have
they,
no clue.
was,
I don't even know if they found him.
were they
Because
afraid, or were they angry that they had to be inconvenienced?
who, my mother?
Yeah, yeah.
She was just like, I can't believe this. I don't understand. Like, I don't really remember how I remember her being like, I cannot believe, like, but I don't remember if she was angry. Say, I just remember her just being like, I can't believe we're going, I can't believe this, but I don't remember if it was, but
Why would
I
you?
just remember he escaped the hospital, and I remember myself thinking, how the heck did he escape?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how the
Well,
heck?
well, I don't think it's typical for parents to take a kid out of bed to go look for an escape
Well, no, she had to go to the hospital for some, like, to see her son, like something. There was something there. Something at that hospital. And then and I remember saying something, I had to get my kids out of bed. Like, she was yelling at them, at the hospital people. And then all I cared about is, can we just go home? I'm
yeah.
tired, you
Yeah.
know. And then we went back home, and that was it. I don't remember what happened. I can't really remember. I just remember that little moment.
Hmm.
That's it.
So, that was odd. That's odd. Um,
Mhm.
Back to your missing time. Do you, have you thought about that? Has it been out of your mind for a while? Like, do you have any theories around that? No. Yeah.
It's weird. The only thing I think about is sometimes, like, there was these days, it's weird though. There was these days, like, where I remember, I mean, I don't even know. It's weird because I remember, like if I went to sleep, it sounds weird though. If I went to sleep and I woke up and I'm like, why is it dark? Like in other words, like, you go to sleep and you're waking up, it's supposed to be morning and it's supposed to be whatever. And you're like, why is the day only 20 minutes? Which makes no sense. Like
So,
like it the day was only 20 minutes long, and you're
so
supposed to go back to sleep again.
okay. So you get up,
So,
you go through your day or you start to, and then you go
and the
back
day
to
was 20
sleep.
minutes.
Okay. Wow. That's not
Uh,
typical. What do you think might have happened then? You have any theories or?
no,
Okay.
I don't even think about it. I said the heck with it.
Okay.
Because I'm
Well,
like, man, I don't know.
I know you had sent me a message about 2 weeks ago, that you had watched a previous video I had done and you were like,
Hmm.
made me feel very odd. And so
Hmm.
it sounds to me like memories are trying to
Oh,
surface.
that was about the hitchhiking thing.
Yeah.
There was something said when he said, what was it? What did I say to you?
I don't
I
know.
remember the word hitchhiking.
It felt like something was going to bubble up in your memory. And you know
Hmm.
what? Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it will never happen. And it doesn't matter. I'm just asking the question.
Hmm.
So it kind of seems to me like your parents, your adopted parents were handlers, okay? That they weren't like the loving family that they were trying to portray at all. And that's really where I was going with all of the previous. And um okay, so
Yeah, I used to hear things about the mafia. I used to hear things about, I'm
you did.
serious. Oh, yeah. Because, see, the sisters now, which were nice to me, though, but see, the husbands of the sister, Romana, okay? So, and I used to hear talk of like mafia and mafia stuff. So, um, yeah. Uh,
Mhm. And
you
that's
know,
your adopted mom's sisters is what you're talking about. So
yeah.
that's
So
probably not
you
it's
have a lot of stuff, yeah. So there's a lot of like just stuff that goes on that way,
yeah.
shall I say. So yeah, you have a lot of different elements, shall I say, within that, and then my one uncle, like, you know, he used to speak Italian and this and that. He was in the Korean War and all this kind of stuff, this and that. And then, something about like the mafia, this and that. I used to try to catch the conversations that they wouldn't let me in on. But like, and then like just they also had, a house over there and then a house in Florida, you know.
Interesting. Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then you had the other one, which her last name was Peppy. And she's the one now. My Aunt Elsie, which had her husband was Buddy Peppy, and then she was working with that or vice president or whatever of the limousine company. She's the one that told me about the story about Donald Trump when Donald Trump's limo was stuck on the side of the road and he had a flat tire. And the gentleman from her company had pulled over. He drove a limo. So it's a limousine company. The limousine company was Gem Limousine Company. So any reporters or whoever doubts my story, check on it. Gem Limousine Company, Woodbridge, New Jersey. So my aunt told me that this was way back. This was before Donald Trump was president. She told me that the gentleman from her company had stopped because he seen a limo stuck on the side of the road, didn't know who was in it, and he just seen somebody had a flat tire, and he stopped and he put a spare on it or whatever, he changed the tire, and the driver from that limo said, listen, my client in the back wants to know, is there something, do you have an address? He wants to send your wife flowers. He wants to do something for you. He thanks you for doing this, this and that. And he said, or is there anything he could do for you? And the guy said, yeah, tell him to send my wife flowers. I'm good. Thank you. I appreciate that. And he gave him his information. And, you know, went on about the business. Next thing you know, his mortgage was paid.
I've heard
And
that.
it was,
Yeah.
yes, a letter came in and said, it was Donald Trump. Donald Trump was in the back of that limo.
Right.
Okay. Now, that's the story I got from Elsie Peppy of Gem Limousine. The owner of Gem Limousine is Barbara. Her name is Barbara. Now, um, that's the story.
Okay.
So there you go. It was a driver from there out of Woodbridge, New Jersey.
I've heard that story multiple times. So, and I think there's probably video out about it, but
oh yeah, there is video. There is people that tell that story. So I'm just dropping the names.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Anybody who doubts it, check.
Okay. Now, do you think you were put in this household so that you were watched, meaning that you were monitored, and then comma, or were they trying to, like, we'll call it groom you to go, we'll call it to the dark side? Like, why do you
I think you got a little bit of both,
Yeah.
I think you got a little bit of both going on. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, because you got some things, you got people that tried to get me to do, to drink. I don't do that. You got people that, not the parents, but you got people that tried to get me to do drugs. I don't do that. You got people that try to, you know what I mean? You got people constantly mentally screwing me over. You know what I mean? Trying to get me to either just go completely nuts or just off myself, or whatever the case may be, this and that, and the more and more I just don't go along with the agenda, the more miserable I am.
Okay. Now, when we first started talking today, you talked about your mom and her mood swings, like she'd be calm and happy, and then she'd be like freaking out. And, and you mentioned MK Ultra.
Mhm.
So, do you think she was controlled? Do you think she was coerced into being your mom? Like, what do you think was happening there? She
Mm,
she was in a
I don't think
situation.
she was a, I think she was a targeted individual.
Okay. Okay, so let's lead up to when you discover who your dad is. Like, we haven't said the name yet, okay? Because this is leap of faith number one, but there's more to come. So, like, lead up to that point. Like, I wanted to set the kind of the story about how it was a weird household. It wasn't typical, it wasn't normal. They tried to keep this facade. That amount of money, not typical. You know what I mean? And then how he got it, and it sounds like he wasn't even a very good worker, you know? Um, so lead up to
Well,
that.
he would go every day. He would go faithfully every day, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's just out there, man.
yeah.
I mean, listen, there one time his truck caught on fire, right? And I mean, he had all these checks that were uncashed in that truck in Paul's Trucking. Once again, I'll drop the name, Paul's Trucking. Okay, Paul's Trucking. And he also had cash in there. But I don't know how the truck caught on fire now. Who knows with these people? But anyway, so this idiot, his hair was singed from the fire because I was laughing, I didn't lie. He tried to get back in the truck because he had his money in there. Because he used to hide it in different compartments. And the fire, they told us, the fire department, the people were yelling, "You can't go in there, you can't go in there." He didn't care what them people said, and they didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't understand. They thought he was like, "What do you got, a death wish person? Like, are you crazy?" They didn't understand, and he's not going to tell them, "Hey, listen, I got stacks
Yeah.
of Walmart bags or whatever bags, money wrapped in bags in compartments in this truck, and also paychecks that are uncashed." And you know what? He had to call Paul's Trucking, the idiot, and ask them, "Could you redo my checks?" Because some of them burned up in the damn truck. You know what I told him? That'll teach you to keep hiding so much money like a damn criminal. I said, now burned up. I said, now look at that. I said, you could have just gave it to me. I said, I mean, who does it?
Yeah.
Listen, I have somebody that told me his father, that his father, George, my buddy
Right,
George,
right.
went over to his father's house and said, "Can I keep something in your shed?" And his father said, "Yeah, of course you can. What is it?" And when his father seen, he said, "Man, George, not that." It was a wad of money he wanted to put under a opening in the shed. He wanted to hide some there too.
That's crazy. Yeah,
Listen, it was all over. It was
yeah.
all over. I'm telling you, I found, I mean, shoot. Oh, I used to go in there once I turned 17. I used to go in there, my friends, "Oh, we want to go to Seaside. We want to go." I said, "Oh, don't worry, I got this." I went right in the room. I knew where it was. I'm like, "Let me go get $300.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it was nothing. He didn't miss it. Why?
Yeah.
I mean, why can't we have fun? I'm like,
Wow.
what does he? It was right under, he had it under the pillow in stacks. That
Wow.
was only one compartment. We're talking about, I mean,
So
really.
he was kept well supplied with cash during your time, in the household. Well supplied.
I mean, it was
Yeah. Yeah.
unbelievable.
So let's lead up to the time where we disclose who your dad was, for those that haven't heard the story before.
bring it on. I mean, people are gonna think I'm a kook, but I mean, I don't care, because
Oh,
here's my thing. This is just, I mean, you can't get no real, I mean, it's just,
it's okay. You
it's
know
what
what?
they do.
It is what they do, and that's what we're trying to show. So how old were you when you discovered his identity?
What is that, 2018? Yeah.
Oh,
So,
I thought you were like a teenager.
oh, hell no.
Oh,
I didn't
oh,
know. No, when I was a teenager, I used to call him that name. I didn't know that was who, because he looked like that person. So but I didn't know
ooh.
it was. I had no
Oh,
idea it was.
I had
Oh,
it, I had it mixed up in my
yeah.
brain then.
Mm-mm. I
Okay.
didn't know, but he looked like, because I didn't know they did all that. I didn't know that this was real. I didn't know that. I just was like, damn, he looks like you know who. So I just I used to make fun of him and call him that.
So should we just keep going on with the story and keep people in suspense?
Okay.
All right, so let's go to teenage years. You're a teenager.
Mhm.
Are you rebellious? Like, are you doing your own thing? It sounds like you kind of are, but just
Like,
that.
I mean, I'm more of the prankster kind. I'm more of the, and also the, like, I really like people, but now I'm at the point too,
Yeah.
because I'll be friends with anybody. I rather get along with everybody, but I'm at the point too where I just don't put up with people's crap. So
Right,
if
right.
you come at me and you are harassing me and you want to pick on me, I'm going to go at you back. So if you were, that's what I got in trouble for school for, because um, like for instance, somebody spit in my face, right? And I hauled off and beat the crap out of him. You know what I mean? So like, so it's like, and then um like the bullying stuff. I didn't put up with the bullying stuff, because when you live in a house like that and you're dealing with that, you're not in the mood to be bullied.
Right.
But the one thing I never did was bully somebody else like that. I don't like that. Because I don't like, I just, you know what I mean? I don't like that.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not going to be, I wasn't the one, like, I'm not coming here to be bullied. Don't, just please. And I used to say, just leave me alone. Please leave me alone. And when it picked up, I'm like, if you don't stop, I'm punching you right in your face. And then it just picked up,
Yep. Yep.
and it was like, and
Okay.
then that's it. And then it's like, and then she got called, like, you have to come get your daughter for fighting today. One time she heard it over or arguing with the teachers, like, because you know, over stupid stuff, like dumb stuff. I mean, but I could have had a better, but I mean, I was pissed off. I'm getting woken up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning from those idiots arguing in the house, or pissing sinks or whatever the heck they're doing, and just arguing or beating each other up. There was holes in the wall. There was holes in the wall all over the house. They used to call the house the psycho house. They did. They did. I'm telling you, they called it the psycho house. But they did. Like, I'm telling you, I had a friend over one time, and my brother, because George and him were arguing, he put his fist through the window. It was all bleeding and everything. I started screaming and crying because I'm like, this is my friend was like, oh my God, get me out of here. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I was pissed, and I'm like, this is bull, So I was like, this is just like, come on, man, and the stuff, like, there was times where I would go places, my whole body is shaking, and I literally was praying to God somebody would get me out of the abuse. Like, literally, I was hoping that there was like somebody would just take me away from the abuse
Right.
that was going on, because there was worse things that I'm not bringing up, okay, that I was just hoping you know I mean, really, and it was just so bad. They used to call it the psycho house.
Wow.
I was labeled, and that's where the bullying and stuff would come from. So I'm like, if you keep this up, I'm beating the hell out of everybody. I really don't care.
Right.
And I would beat the crap out of people because
Right.
I'm like, you want to call it the psycho house? I'm going to show you a psycho right now. And
So,
it's going to be on, and the thing is, when you start, they started leaving me alone because they were like, she's crazy.
yeah.
So I'm
You
like,
probably did have a lot of anger, and we
yeah,
don't know all the parts that you
right,
haven't told us yet, but we're just assuming the worst. It wasn't a good life, and
yeah,
you know, so you're welcome to say anything you want except
right.
too many F-bombs.
You got book, right, right, right. But they got,
Yeah.
you have bookshelves knocked over, broken dishes, holes in the walls. You have yelling and screaming. You got, a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
You got a lot of stuff. So all this kind of stuff, mysterious things happening. We didn't even get to the deaths happening around me yet.
Oh, okay.
You
Do
know,
you want to
you
talk
didn't
about
get
that now,
to,
or like
you
what
know,
I thought we
no,
would
that's
do?
later on. That's later on.
Okay.
But you didn't get to there's a lot more, or the weird, crazy, the bestiality videos and the weird crap. Yeah. I'm the only idiot at 16 that knew about dogs screwing at people and damn, horses and weird stuff. Okay. So anyway, yeah,
Yeah, that's not typical, I don't
yeah,
think.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
went to school. I was able to go to school and sit there making comedy jokes about it
Wow.
because I'm the only idiot that knew anything like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't even, nobody else even knew it existed. And I'm
Right.
like, do you know that people screw animals? Like I made a joke out of it because I'm like, what is it? Like in my mind, I said, damn, that joke happens. Like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I mean, I would never even think of something like that.
And
So
your
in
dad
my
like
mind,
watched that in front of the kids?
huh?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Look, in my mind, when something that is that off, I will turn it to comedy so I could just, because that, I mean, that's sick, So I'm like, make a joke out of it. But I mean, because it's like, you people are out there, man. Like, who the hell, who comes up with something like that? So I'm sitting there like, I remember I went into school and I looked at somebody, I said, do you know that there's people that actually screw animals? And they just looked at me like, huh? I'm like, yeah. I said, there's one on a tape. I said, there's a tape of somebody screwing a dog. I said, you know what? I said, the
Oh,
dog was getting down.
switch a
I told,
topic. Switch a
yeah.
topic.
And the teacher goes, what'd you just say? I said, the dog was getting down. She gave him a bone and everything. I said, good dog. She called my mother. I said, well, I said, welcome to 104 Wells Drive. Welcome home.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, yeah. So moving on.
Okay. So
Yeah,
let's move
moving
on
on.
to teenage years. Did your
Yeah, yeah,
parents end up getting divorced?
yeah.
Yeah, we've set the tone for it wasn't a good household. Oh my God.
Well, it could get worse.
Okay.
Like I said,
Mhm. It can get worse.
yeah,
Probably
it can
don't
get
want
worse now.
to. Okay. So, your parents got divorced. How old
There
were
was
you?
drugs coming up the window outside. I was taking pictures of that. Never for me. I never did drugs.
What do you mean? Like somebody was
Well,
bringing,
the window would open up. Like the reason I know this is I had my light off. It was late. My window was open though, and I was on the phone with a friend. Like, but I wasn't supposed to be on the phone, so I was real quiet. Because my phone was taken away. But see, I was a smart kid back then. I went to CVS around the corner, and I always had a phone on deck in the closet that I would just plug right in. You know. Had to talk to my little high school or middle school sweetheart,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
plug that baby right on the wall, you know. I mean, I even was smart enough to buy baby monitors and hide one somewhere in the living room so I could hear when she gets up. Put one there, hear when she gets up, so I could just click it on three-way to see if make sure she wasn't checking the phone line, see if I was on. But anyway, besides the point. So, you know, on there, but I hear something going on outside, and I said, "What in the heck is that?" And I look out the window because when it's real dark in a room, they can't see what's going on where you are, but you could see what's going on out there. But I'm peeking, because it was dark outside too. But it's dark in my room, and I kept it right. So I'm peeking and I'm looking to the side because it's over. And I see these three guys. And I look over and I see this like basket with crocheting thread going going down like. And I said, and at first I'm like, the hell is that? What the hell is he doing?
Yeah.
And I see the guys just like waving it down, and I'm like, the hell is going on here? And I'm just watching, like, hell am I watching? And I see them take something out of it, and it was money. And I see them put something in, and then I see the basket going up with the it was my mother's crocheting, thread. That's how we made it. And I said, the hell is that? And I'm like, that's got to be drugs, man. Like, what the hell? You know? And I'm like, oh, man.
Wow.
Right through the damn window. And then I heard the whole noise.
All
And
right.
I was like, well, I'll just be damned.
All
Yeah.
right. Wow. Okay, so around what age were you when your parents got divorced?
Mm, mm, what? 17.
Okay, so you're still in high school. So
Yeah.
dad kind of like beat your mom up. She had a restraining order. He'd still come back to the house
Hmm.
periodically. Did he ever move back in before that?
Yeah, he had to come back because, see, she would get like messed up financially and stuff. And then he would start holding stuff and this and that. He would
Yeah,
always try to screw her that way.
yeah, of
And
course.
then there was no way to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But then it finally stopped like a couple years later.
yeah. Okay. So they got divorced at age 17, roughly. You graduated high school, I assume.
Hmm.
And then what happened?
Well, I had Daniel.
Okay.
Hmm. I mean, that was another, I mean, I remember, actually, he was still around when I had Daniel, though, because I remember she was holding Daniel, and he's that is he does weird stuff like she's holding Daniel, and he's trying to sit on her lap while she's holding a baby like that, and he's trying to sit on her lap. Come on, Lo, let's cuddle. And she's like, George, I'm holding a baby. Or she's trying to change Daniel, and he's over there trying to whatever. And I remember she took Daniel's dirty diaper with poop in it and put it in his face.
No.
This is what was going on. Like, I mean, really. And I'm thinking, God, I got to get out of here.
Yeah. So what did you do? Like when did you move out of the household?
No, I didn't. We moved. Yeah,
When you
we
and your
were able
mom,
to.
your brother was out of the house by then?
Yeah, he's been out. Yeah,
Yeah. So you
yeah.
you and your mom moved. All right. All right. I feel like we're at a good resting point for today. And we're going to leave the name of the mysterious father until the next time, because
People are
next
gonna,
all the
people are
big
gonna,
names are going to be coming in, and we're going to leave that a little bit, and we'll be back, right? So
yes, we will.
in the description of this, I'm going to leave some links if you want to support Lydia. She's got Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo, and she also has a Telegram channel. There are no coincidences. So I'm going to put all of that in the description box so you can support her if you're called to do so. And we wanted to kind of lead up through this story because it's so complex and, odd.
Yeah,
So the next time we get together, we will be talking about the actual names and more events that are almost mind blowing. So, yeah.
yeah.
Anything else
And
you
I
want to
would
say?
like to just say that, in reference to the words stolen identity,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
you know,
good
that,
name, isn't it?
yeah, those words are absolutely, it happens. It's real, with the words
Yeah.
in general, stolen identity, or the fact that these things are happening, or the fact that we have just criminals running around like crazy, taking over things, um, you know, people with different names, people just, like the real people are living completely miserable lives, being terrorized, being abused,
Right.
having satanic ritual abuse, um, being held back, not being able to live any type of life at all, no quality to it, having their everything ripped from them, whether it's their children, their any type of family, any type of dream, any type of um, you know, love, any type of whatever. They want that person to be in complete isolation, in complete poverty, in complete just misery. And they want to try to force that person to kill themselves. They want to try to force that person to really take a look and say, there really is no reason for me to be here.
Mm.
um and they want that person to feel like they're a curse, and they are cursed, um while they themselves reap the benefits of being that person, or
Right.
what that person's supposed to have.
Right.
And they're making sure to block that person's voice, and platforms and everything at all costs. you know it's real, and people need to really just think for themselves and think to themselves, like, you know, it's not about who's right, it's about what's right. And you need to really look within yourself and ask yourself, if somebody, no matter how much you like a persona, if somebody is not doing the right thing by human beings, ask yourself, what if it were you? What if it were your children? What if it were your family, right? That it was happening to? That's the first question. Number two, you know, if they're not doing right by the human being, okay, then really, what does that mean? Like, what really does that mean? Because if it were you, which one day, what if it was? It could be, and they're not doing the right thing. What does that mean?
Right.
So, you got to really start looking at that and thinking for yourselves, because I'm telling you, it's not about who the persona, doesn't matter. It matters about the actions of what they're doing.
Right.
And If we can't think in that mindset, that's how they are getting away with this. Because I'm telling you, I'm begging you, believe me, think about it. If you could sit there and act it, if somebody said to you guys, hey, I want you to act in a movie for me. You're going to be a billionaire in this movie. You're going to be this. Your life is going to change instantly in this movie. You're going to be like, heck yeah, okay. Man, it's going to suck when this role ends. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. It's not going to end for you. If you do a good enough job, you could take the character home with you. You could take the bank account home with you. You could take it all home with you. Really? Yeah, you could live. You know what? We're going to change your life. That's going to be who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your life changes like that.
Yeah.
Aren't you going to take that role? I mean, you know
We're,
what I mean?
we're
You
seeing
know,
it more and more out there. We're seeing people that are not who they claim to be, living these lives,
yeah.
misleading the people. We're heavily programmed. We're told a story about a celebrity or whoever it might be, and people are so ingrained with that story, they can't think, well, maybe it's not true. Maybe this was true, or we don't even know what
Mhm.
the truth is sometimes, but it's not always what we're told.
Well,
So,
here's a better here's a, not a better I'm sorry, not a better. Here's a good way of saying it. Think about this. How many people came into your life personally? Maybe a boyfriend, maybe a girlfriend, maybe a this, maybe that, right? Into anybody's life personally. And actually, they're in your face all the time. A friend, a this, or that, a relative. They're not who they say they were. They fooled you in your own life, in your own space. You spent years with them, and they turned out to be not who you thought.
boom.
So,
Yeah.
what in your mind would make you think that a TV persona of somebody that you've never spent a day with in your life, isn't going to fool you? Come
Mhm.
on. What in your mind would make you think and believe that these people that are on there or on a Twitter account or on a social media account um, can't fool
Yeah.
you in a political game when they have resources behind them, power behind them, everything they need. But yet, a person could come into your life and build a relationship with you, have you fooled to the point where you were married to them or about to marry them or best friends with them or good friends with them, some kind of relationship with them in your intimate life, and they had you fooled, okay? But you're saying that these people,
Yeah.
come on now. So open your mind to the fact that that's all I'm saying. You don't have to whatever, but open your mind to the fact that there's a possibility that somebody may not be who
Right.
they're appearing to be, and there might be something else going on. So the only way to believe to know something is to what it says, try the spirit by the spirit. And to do that is because what is love? I'm going to tell you what love is. It's not an emotion, it's an action. Because when you love somebody, you act on it. It's as simple as that. You're not going to say, hey, I know you're starving to death. See you on this other side, bro. I got a bunch of food here, but I'm not feeding you. I'll see you on the other side. You know what I mean? I'll see you when I get there, man. Bone thugs in harmony, man. I'll see you when I get there. You know what I mean? But you got a bunch of food there. You're gonna feed that person. You're gonna feed them because that's an act, your actions, okay? And that's love. You know what I mean? God is love. God is actions.
Right.
So you're not going to sit there and just not act on something. So when you have a lot of the lip service, when you have a lot of this and that, but you see a lot of another thing, God is not the author of confusion. This is nothing but confusion. So what's the problem? You know what I mean? So if we're talking about lining certain things up and you see this just ain't lining up.
Right.
I don't know what you know what I mean? You need to really look within yourself and figure something out here because
Right.
this just isn't right. So, you know, maybe it's not lining up here in your heart for you. Um, and that's what really counts, you know? So we really need to sit and think about the person because with the technology and the this and the that, a lot of people have gravitated away from what really means something. And that's a lot of the problem is they grabbed everybody's attention and put it where it doesn't belong. And that's how they captured everybody. And it's a trap. So do yourselves a favor and bring yourself back to where it goes. And always remember the words of it's not who, it's what. And ask yourself that question here and here, where's your heart at?
Right. Right.
You know,
Well, we will resume again and tell the rest of the story. And
thank you.
I know there's going to be questions after this, but if everyone can kind of
Right.
hold off till after the second part, I think a lot of it, I mean, there's still a leap of faith involved in all of this, but it's a
Right.
fascinating story, which is why we're here in the first place. So
Thank you, Sue.
thank you for your time, and I'll be talking
Thank
with
you.
you very soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.